From Adams Morgan to Anacostia Park, we all want safer neighborhoods. But what does real safety mean? Real safety means preventing crime before it happens. By having police work with communities to disrupt cycles of violence, by supporting families with stable housing, and providing more mental health and drug treatment. We know that adding more police and locking up more people doesn't make us safer. Real safety means investing in the things that help prevent crime. Learn more at Real Safety DC.
Make holiday gifting easy with Pura's Black Friday sale. Take up to 30% off site-wide, including curated gift sets, diffusers for home and car, and single scents that make perfect stocking stuffers. For a limited time at Pura.com.
Hello, SpyHards. It's your very own Miss Moneypenny, Catherine Vinclair here, with an exciting announcement. Agent Scott and I will be hosting a live screening of Thunderball at 2 p.m. on Saturday the 13th of December at the world-famous Riverside Studio Cinema in Hammersmith. Plus, after the screening, we'll be joined by Bond girl extraordinaire Martine Beswick to share her stories from behind the scenes of this 007 classic. She'll also be signing autographs and taking photos with fans. So if you want an early Christmas present, you know what to do. Tickets are limited, so make sure you grab yours now at the link in the show notes. See you there.
Hello and welcome to SpyHards Podcast, where your hosts go oh so deep undercover into the world of spy movies to decipher which films make the knock list. But remember, this information is strictly for your ears only. I'm Agent Scott.
And I'm Cam the Provocateur. And Scott, he who is tardy pays for the party.
Okay.
However, in my world, he who is hardy pays for the party. And so when you come to Vancouver, it's on you.
That's some good banter, Cam.
Thank you. I thought that line was kind of fun, but clearly it fell completely flat with you.
I think it's one of the many times in my life that my surname has been used as a joke. And so when it happens, I just kind of go, yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah.
You see, when people use some sort of variation on Cam, I scream with laughter.
You really ham it up.
I don't know that that's any sort of play on my name.
Well, it rhymes with Cam.
That doesn't count.
It's about as funny as your joke was.
Lots of things rhyme with Cam.
Okay.
Anyways, let's move on. Obviously, the comedy is falling completely flat here, so maybe we can find brighter avenues ahead.
Oh, that's a great segue. You never do segues. Wow, that's actually pretty damn good there. Well done, Cam. Yes, we've got a return of a film, return of an idea, a kind of a remake situation again this week. And we have a returning guest from many, many moons ago.
Yeah, who tackled a movie from this very same year. Of 2003.
Yeah, it turns out this is her year.
Yeah, it turns out. I don't even know if she knew that.
Yeah, I was 16, so that was definitely my year.
Okay. I don't really remember this year as being any sort of special year for me, so yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. Maybe throughout the process of this episode, you'll have an awakening that 2003 was the year of Cam.
Maybe I will. Although I'm trying to think, did anything come out this year movie-wise that I was like, oh my god, this changed my life? I wasn't a huge Lord of the Rings guy. I enjoyed all the movies, but this wasn't like a, life-defining moment seeing Return of the King for me. Yeah, and The Matrix Reloaded disappointed me. So, yeah, I don't know that 2003 was my favorite movie year either.
Well, that might not have been your favorite year, Cam, but there is a way that you can celebrate your favorite spy movie podcast. Did you know this, Cam?
What? What?
I know, right? I know. I was going to plug the Patreon, but I think what's more important right now is if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, and it turns out quite a lot of you are, a large percentage of our listeners are on Apple Podcasts, we haven't got all that many reviews. So we would love it if you could leave us a 5-star review. And in that review, write down your favorite SpyHards episode or your favorite spy movie, or just make a joke about Cam.
Oh, please, go for it. Swing away, Meryl.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts and get those reviews in. And then the best ones we'll give a little shout out on the show. So thank you for that. And without further ado, let's get to the review. Okay, Cam, it's the second wedding. Like, you're going back for more, I guess. Did we get divorced and we're having like a second wedding? What are we doing?
I mean, you mean renewing their vows or renewing our vows?
No, it's like a second wedding. It's not renewing the vows. So did we get divorced and then we got back together again?
Oh, like Bennifer?
Or Ross and Rachel?
Sure. Although they didn't get married twice, whereas Bennifer did.
Okay, so I'll be Jennifer. You can be Ben Affleck.
Did Bennifer get married twice, or was it only once? Were they just engaged once?
And this is the kind of witty banter you can expect from SpyHards every week. But let's not belabor this failing pun. Let's speak about a failing film. And to have that discussion, we've brought in an expert. She is back on the show. She has requested to be referred to by the following title. She is our rogue Xerox agent. It's one half of the Chick Lit podcast. It's Karyn.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi there. Welcome back.
Welcome back to me. I was on a break since you brought up Ross and Rachel. It's really hard for me to keep myself from joining in on the banter whenever I'm supposed to be quiet and then be introduced.
Well, do you have an answer to my question? Were Bennifer married twice or just once?
I think they did get married twice. I'm pretty sure they got at least re-engaged.
Re-engaged?
Yes. I wasn't sure if it was an engagement or marriage.
Yeah. She's collecting all the Infinity Stones, you know.
Which stone was he?
Probably like the final one, and now she's about to do the Thanos thing and blip half of us out of the universe, which I would not argue with, so.
Jennifer Lopez is inevitable.
It's true.
It is. I mean, I know whose side I'm on in that relationship.
I just really identify with all those pictures of Ben Affleck, like absolutely looking like he's worked a 12-hour day, smoking a cigarette, and drinking a coffee. Like, that's me every day in 2025.
There was like the video of him at the awards ceremony with her, just looking like, I have nothing left. This is it. Like, this is it.
She has taken my life force.
He was like Vision when they ripped the gem out of his head in Infinity War.
It's true.
That's one way of putting it. Well, let's dial in, Cam. The wedding bells are ringing. We have a wedding on our hands. What's that thing North Americans do before weddings? They have like a sit-down dinner thing?
The rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the rehearsal dinner, I guess, then before we get to the main show. And I mean, it really is a North American thing. Do they do it at all weddings in your continent?
For the most part, yeah. It's like you rehearse the walking in and all that stuff without actually doing the ceremony. Well, some people do, and some people just have the dinner. My rehearsal dinner was Domino's, so that's...
Oh, so you're my spirit animal. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the marriage lasted about as long as the rehearsal dinner, but...
At least you got pizza.
But at least I got pizza, and it was free pizza because someone else paid for it.
Boom.
I went to a rehearsal dinner once where I had to we actually did the rehearsal of the ceremony, and I was the best man, and I had like this technique I had to do to actually display the ring, where it was like you had to open it but then rotate your wrist to it was like they were very specific about this movement that I had to do.
I mean, those of you listening didn't get the experience that Karyn and I just got of seeing Cam's wrist action. That was truly something. Could you do it again, Cam?
It was lovely.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't even tell you it was like an open and then rotate the wrist around or something. And I was so nervous about it. They were very specific. This is how you do it. And I was like, okay. But it was a completely unnatural way for me to display something. And so I was sweating. I think I was more nervous actually going into the wedding than the groom was.
I think you were I know you were at my wedding, Cam.
Yeah.
But and we went out like the early in the day, and there was no problems at all. We didn't have a rehearsal, but I guess our wedding party was about an hour long. That was all it was, really.
Yeah. No, this was a pretty formal. Like we were at a church. We had to do the rehearsal there, and it was a little more of a big frou-frou.
Why do North Americans need to practice walking?
Well, so like the reason that they do it is so that, at least for me, was like so that everyone walks in the correct order, and then they know where they're supposed to stand. But I also got married in a gravel parking lot during a hurricane, so I don't really know if people need to listen to me.
It's like portents and omens a little bit there.
It was, yeah, probably. I always tell people there's like, rain on your wedding day is supposed to be a good luck sign, but there's a limit to how much rain you can actually have before it's actually a bad omen. So
okay.
If it's a hurricane, just maybe replan it. Or just elope.
I was going to ask if the hurricane was planned as part of the ceremony.
Yeah, no, I wish. That would have been cool.
Oh, yeah, we've already discussed your wedding and I guess post-divorce, which lasted as long as a pizza. But
yes,
Karyn, I'd be remiss if I didn't dive into a little bit. It's been like a few years since you've been on the show.
True, very true.
What's been going on with you?
Oh my goodness. Well, I have had, I'd call it a career change, but really I just unexpectedly was let go from my job this summer. So
technically a change, yeah.
Technically a change. It was probably for the best. But I finally have my own place now. I was living with a roommate before. I think we probably skipped all that because it's been so many years. But I'm kind of currently just doing a lot of gig work and kind of enjoying my freedom a little bit, not sitting in a 9-to-5 every day. Yeah, it's been a year of like self-discovery for me, I feel like.
Wow, I feel like the last episode you were on was Spy Kids 3D.
That
and
is
correct. I like to think that maybe started the journey of discovery.
Yes.
You had a moment where you were like, I've hit the lowest point I possibly could watching Spy Kids 3D, so it's time to venture upwards towards the light.
Can only go up from there.
That's right.
Was it Finding the Guy? Is that what it was? It was like
the guy. I think
the man.
To get like, yeah, that's the guy.
It's not the dude because that's Big Lebowski. I don't remember anyway.
No, I just remember the Avengers Assemble scene in that film.
Yes,
where all of the characters jump out. Of like Steve Buscemi comes out of nowhere and all that sort of stuff. That's all I recall.
I love a surprise Steve Buscemi in a movie. That's like top tier.
Short supply these days.
True. But yes, not. I'm still the same pretty much person, but I have lots around me has changed, but mostly for the better.
And what's going on with the podcast at the moment?
We have been on a unplanned, very long hiatus that mostly is just because both of our executive functioning just crashed and burned there for about a year.
Sure.
We are slowly coming back. We are currently finishing our New Moon season. I just released our 2 back episodes and we're about to start recording some new ones. And so once we finish that, which should be very soon, we are pivoting to a new structure, which will be announced fairly soon, probably like in a few weeks.
It's ironic that it's to do with New Moon, because when I think of the Twilight books and films, I think of an ex I almost married that Cam actually met many years ago.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
He's still in therapy.
Were they obsessed with Twilight?
You could say that. I think one of their kids is now called Renesmee.
No.
Wow.
They didn't even pick the normal names.
What's the normal name?
I mean, you could have named Charlie, Edward, Jacob, like Isabella. Like you picked Renesmee.
I'm not saying who it was.
I feel like that's on par with naming your kid like Khaleesi or whatever. Like...
Oh, that's a real Khaleesi move. That is. There's just no coming back from that now. And I know a few teachers, and they're like in primary school, we would call it. I don't know what North Americans would call primary school, but
elementary, I think.
They're getting a lot of Khaleesi's in their classes these days because that's like 6 or 7 years since the show ended.
Wow. Really? That's the name.
Yeah.
That's the go-to, huh?
Drogos as well. That's a popular one.
Okay, Drogo is crazy.
Yeah. Can you imagine Drogo Hardy? I wouldn't want to meet that guy.
It sounds like someone's like WWE wrestling name or something.
Coming down the ring, it's Drogo Hardy
with the chair.
Yeah. My God, he's got a chair. Yeah, okay, we could do wrestling impressions all day. That would be lovely. Well, it's good to have you back. It's been a while since Spy Kids. We've gone on to review the other 2 Spy Kids films. We're still reading from those. It's nice to know that it peaked around 3.
Yeah. Did they really just kind of like drop off after that?
It was like the descent of a pogo toad after that.
Well, okay. You're back. You're here. We're having a marriage renewal, or vow renewal, I guess, or whatever it is. We're getting remarried, whatever Cam and I are doing. Let's just tie it into marriage because apparently this film is about it. Cam, what are we talking about?
We are talking about 2003's The In-Laws, a remake up for debate of the 1979 cult classic, which made the knock list, actually, relatively recently, starring Peter Falk and Alan Arkin.
Begrudgingly.
Hey, me and David A. Goodman both stand firmly behind that film.
You do. You what's the thing they yell out in the film?
Oh, Serpentine?
Serpentine, that's it. Yeah, it snaked its way onto the knock list.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard people yell that before, actually.
That's what it's from. It's from the first version of this film.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, we'll get into the story of how it came to be in a minute, but for those who haven't ever enjoyed the delights of 2003's The In-Laws, here's the synopsis. He's not losing his daughter, he's gaining a madman.
Not bad. Not a bad tagline.
I like that.
Yeah. Right before his daughter's wedding, a mild-mannered foot doctor discovers that his new in-laws are international smugglers.
Wait, in-laws? Plural?
Yeah, I thought about that.
That's not accurate.
Did Candice Bergen do any jobs with him at some point?
No, I don't think so.
Did she just know about it and that was just like enough complicity?
I guess so.
I guess.
Okay.
I think we're putting too much effort into writing this already. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it's you usually, unless you are referring to a specific in-law, you usually just say in-laws. Unless you're saying like father-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, like whatever. At least like that's how I would say it. Like my in-laws, but I could be referring to like, you know, a brother-in-law and what, I don't know. I might just be justifying it too much.
We're already trying to make adjustments to accommodate this film. Let's not do that.
Now I have a question. So like Scott, what would you refer? No, that's not the right comparison. If you're Albert Brooks, what would you call Michael Douglas once he's married to the family?
Michael Douglas. Wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like in terms of like a title.
Well, you wouldn't. Like if I had kids and they got married,
yeah,
I wouldn't have a title for their parents.
My daughter's father-in-law, I guess, would be.
Yeah. That's it, I guess.
You wouldn't call him your in-law.
No, because like I'm married.
Yeah.
So my wife's parents are the in-laws.
Yes.
Right, but my parents aren't her parents' in-laws.
Yeah. So they don't have any sort of title for that.
Let's make one. Go on, Cam. You wanted it so bad, you got the floor.
What? Karyn, you were about to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, my parents referred to, when I was married, my husband's parents referred to him as their in-laws, or to them as their in-laws. And like, they would do the same thing with my sister's husband's parents too. But I don't know, maybe that's just because we're weird and Southern.
I mean, I'll sign off on that, sure.
Sure. It means Cam doesn't have to use his imagination, so he doesn't have to, yeah.
One anecdotal experience.
Yes.
Well, that means that this synopsis was completely right.
It's the pluralizing that throws me.
Yeah. We did our fact finding. We fact checked it, and it turns out the facts don't matter. And there are good people on both sides, all right? So let's move on. The in-laws. Now, I am curious, Karyn, as someone from North America, do you know anything apart from Serpentine about the original version of this film?
I know that Alan Arkin was in it, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. There's a few more bits to it, but okay. It means you didn't have an experience with it. You went into this fresh. This is your first marriage.
Yes, correct.
Right.
And hopefully it goes better than my actual one. When you asked me to be on this episode, I was like, is that a spy movie? Because I don't know, just the title makes me think of I think there's like a rom-com with maybe Diane Keaton, rest in peace. Like The Monster-in-Law or something. Like, I don't know. That was in my head. And I was like, that sounds like a rom-com or something. Like, it sounds like, or like Meet the Fockers. Like, that was kind of getting that sort of vibe. Mm-hmm. I was like, but I guess there's some sort of spy element to it. Because obviously this is the SpyHards. And so when I sat down last night to watch it with my girlfriend and there was the whole opening, I was like, oh, okay, this is a spy movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it actually is much more revealing of the spy stuff right up front than the original. And I feel like, Karyn, you're, I think, a few years younger than me. But the original film fell, I think, outside of what our generation was watching.
Cam is using our generation very liberally right now.
I am. I'm lumping us all together. Folks, join the party. We're all together.
10 years difference between me and Cam, basically. But yeah, go on, Cam.
I'm like Steve Buscemi in that episode of 30 Rock. Come on, fellow kids. Let's all reminisce about how, I think the original, which is a big cult classic, it's on the Criterion. A certain generation loves that film. It was not one that I feel like my age and younger really had much awareness of. So when they announced they were doing like a remake of this movie and it came out, in 2003, it didn't mean anything. Like if they'd said, we're doing a remake of The Great Outdoors or something, I'd be like, oh, I know what that is. Whereas this was a case of like, huh? Oh, okay.
It's maybe they failed in that they marketed it as a remake and not just like, how sometimes they'll do a remake, but nobody knows it's a remake. And it does really well on its own. I don't know. Freaky Friday comes to mind. But like, I don't feel like that was marketed as a remake. It was more like, hey, here's this movie that we just made with these two people and it's really funny. I don't know. It's also not, I'll reserve my opinions for later.
Or it's sort of like Father of the Bride, the
Steve
Martin film with Diane Keaton, actually, which, I don't think anyone really, except for like my parents, would have been acknowledging the original because it was from like 1950.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the original is older than like my parents.
Yeah. And there was actually a sequel too. And when they made Father of the Bride 2, they weren't like, we are doing, a remake of Father's Little Dividend from like 1951.
So that's the original name?
Father's Little Dividend.
Yeah, it was called Father's Little Dividend.
I've got a lot of questions about that title.
Yeah, it's a weird title.
What did they barter for the woman's hand in marriage? Were goats exchanged or something? Or
I'm feeling chickens.
Yeah, okay. Oh, or land.
It was something to do with like how the kid would cost money. Like it was like a financial burden or something.
Sure. Okay. One I won't check out, I'll be honest with you. I'll probably leave it.
Not bad. Co-starring Elizabeth Taylor, starring Spencer Tracy. Not bad.
I mean, Cam is rallying for Father's Little Dividend right now. I did not expect that on this episode, but
Cam was forever and always bringing out like the deep dive research or just general knowledge that he brings to the podcast. Like I was telling my girlfriend last night, I was like, one of these guys was on our Who Framed Roger Rabbit episode and read the entire book, and she was like, "It's a book." I was like, "I know, right?"
There's multiple books.
And I was like, and Scott and I will just be goofing off.
That's my shtick. Thank you for. At least I'm not alone this week.
Right, exactly.
It's usually another like uber nerd like Cam, and they just talk in binary for a little while, and it just goes over my head. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. We're here. Karyn, you had no experience with either film. This is a fresh watch for you. That's pretty safe to say. It's definitely the same for me. I'd seen the original. I'm now looking at this. The only question I've got is Cam. Did you have any sort of pre-in-law experiences?
No, I remember when this came out, they were announcing it was a remake, and I wasn't particularly familiar with the original, and it just did not perform well review-wise or in terms of box office. Yeah, so it was a movie that just I acknowledged was something that existed. I remember when it came out, I remember the marketing, but it wasn't something I was going to see, and it just kind of, I remember Michael Douglas around this point. I was actually looking at his filmography the other day, just in prep for this episode, to kind of see where he was, and it was at a point where Michael Douglas had gotten older. He couldn't really play what we think of as like the Michael Douglas classic leading man kind of roles anymore, and he was really like trying to find things like comedies and stuff to try to find another avenue that would work for him. Maybe he was looking even at like Karyn referred to, like Meet the Fockers, that series. Maybe he's looking at like what Robert De Niro's doing in those movies, going, those are really successful and fun, so maybe I can find something like that. So he does like this, and he did Las Vegas shortly after, which was like a buddies, elderly buddies go to Vegas movie. I think Morgan Freeman was in it as well. So it kind of falls into that journey of like, what do I do? I'm once a huge box office leading man. I don't know what I'm doing now. And he's kind of looking for character parts, comedies, and then he would wind up, of course, in the MCU doing the Ant-Man films.
I forgot he was in the Ant-Man movies. I was trying to think of the most recent thing that I'd seen him in. It's probably that.
Yeah, he's doing TV work and some like really like, stellar TV work. But in terms of movie roles, it really is kind of this period of, I mean, it was a bit of struggling, because you look at him coming off of movies like Fatal Attraction and Basic Instinct and Disclosure and all these kind of box office hits. And this is that period where he just kind of doesn't know where to go.
And this was, of course, the one that turned it round.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get into it, Cam. How did the first marriage fall apart? And then how did they get back together again?
Well, the behind-the-scenes details on this one are not particularly well sketched out. You go to Wikipedia, not a single note about the production whatsoever, which means when we encounter movies like this, and we have the ability, we like to remedy such a situation. Scott?
Yeah, well, what a perfect time to throw to me, Cam. Well done. Because later this week, we are sitting down with the man behind the film, the director, and the aptly named Andrew Fleming, as he takes us all the way through the production of the film from creation to launch, I suppose, and with some quite interesting stories along the way. A couple of things in there that we didn't even know.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to hear a nugget of unknown James Bond trivia, tune in, because we didn't expect it going in, and we were blown away with what we discovered.
Yeah, there's something that was dropped in this interview that I'm still trying to get verified from some James Bond scholars to see just how revelatory it is. So I think that's enough of a tease, everyone.
Yeah, and it's just a super fun interview in terms of the nuts and bolts of putting a movie together and releasing into the world.
And he also did stuff like The Craft and Dick and stuff like that. Like there's films that we talk about that isn't just the in-laws.
Yeah, of course. And actually, I was going to ask about that anyway, but Karyn, are you familiar with the movie The Craft or the movie Dick the Movie?
I'm not familiar with the second, but The Craft is like definitely up my alley, and it's something you'd think I would have watched like a lot younger, but I actually recently watched it for the first time last year, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I've never seen this before, because anyone who knows me knows that I love to goth it up, and October is my favorite time of year, and generally witchy vibes.
Yeah, total like 90s cult classic for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think about her like you don't even exist to me. Like that's just so I don't know, it's very iconic.
Well, before we get to Andrew Fleming, let's start with the kind of the origins of this movie. So I'm not exactly sure what happened first. a initial director announcement or the script being put together. That stuff's really fuzzy, so I'm not sure. But so let's just go into the writing credits on this movie. The first writer, Nat Malden, who's a Texas-born writer, started out in TV on shows like Barney Miller, It Takes Two, and Night Court. And his first film was the 1990 Anthony Edwards Forrest Whitaker crime thriller, Downtown.
You had me at Anthony Edwards.
I know, I was unaware of this movie's existence, and it actually is somewhat compelling for me to search it out now.
In my mind, Anthony Edwards has done 3 things in his entire career, and that is Top Gun, ER, and Gotcha.
Yeah. What about Zodiac?
Nope, never did it.
Well, fair enough. But Malden seemed to be a bit of a specialist in terms of writing remakes, because he also worked on The Preacher's Wife in 1996, which was the remake of The Bishop's Wife, the Cary Grant film we covered on the Patreon. And
Love that film.
Yeah. He also worked on the 1998 Eddie Murphy version of Dr. Dolittle.
Oh.
And that rolled right into this film.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, the Dr. Dolittle was... Oh, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I thought it was fun.
That was my Dr. Dolittle. Every generation seems to have their own Dr. Dolittle. For some people, it might be Robert Downey Jr. Who knows?
I was going to say, I definitely was like, that Dr. Dolittle was like the only Dr. Dolittle that I knew of until I realized that it was like a classic story, and then they remade the other one with Robert Downey Jr. and I was like, wow, what a departure from the one that I have seen. No.
Have either of you two seen the Rex Harrison 60s version?
No.
I mean, I immediately put it on after The In-Laws, of course. Right.
It is a wild ride. I'll just leave it at that. It is a wild ride, and a very slow-paced ride at that.
Okay. Is it like... Is there multiple Dolittles apart from those 3? Is there other Dolittles out there?
There was a Dr. Dolittle 2 that Eddie Murphy was in, but
okay.
And there may have been some straight-to-video kind of runoffs of that movie, but no, I think that's about it.
Just in this world of multiverses, like I wonder if we're ever going to get like the Dolittles.
I'm sure we'll get another Dolittle film in the next like 2 decades.
Sure.
I feel like we've said it so many times now that the word means nothing to me anymore. Doolittle.
So, speaking of Doolittle, Malden didn't do a lot after this movie. He really did a couple small credits. Thank you. But in 2012, his last credit was the straight-to-video sequel, A Christmas Story 2.
I didn't know that existed. I knew they did that weird sequel that dropped on like Disney Plus a few years ago, I think, but
yeah. So I don't think this was I don't think it ever got to the classic holiday status that the original Christmas Story did.
I'd say no.
I mean, the lead actor is Daniel Stern, who is best known as one of the Sticky Bandits from Home Alone. So I don't think it was.
He's the non-Joe Pesci wet bandit.
Yeah,
the wetter bandit.
The wetter bandit.
And the other writer, Ed Solomon, who's a writer-producer from California, started out in the TV show Laverne and Shirley, did script consulting on the It's Gary Shandling's show from 86 to 89. And then in 89, he co-wrote a little movie called Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which put him on the map. And he went on and did Bogus Journey. He did Mom and Dad Save the World. He was one of, I think, 20,000 writers working on the Super Mario Brothers movie in 1993. And then rolled into a movie called Men in Black, which became his calling card.
Well, I think that also ties us all back to the beginning. We're 5 years into this podcast recently. We hit that 5-year mark, and one of our first guests was the lovely chick lit ladies. And, one of our first films was Men in Black.
That's right. Yeah, very early on. And had one of our first, maybe our first ever running gag on the show.
What was that?
About the alien baby.
Oh, you thinking that the alien baby was Vern Troyer?
Yeah, yes, that's right.
That joke.
Yeah,
I like how you tried to skip that bit in the explanation of it.
Yes.
I was going to say, first of all, congratulations for 5 years. That's really very exciting. And I believe you guys were our second ever guests on our podcast, on our movie side podcast that we started.
That was fun. I had a blast on that show.
It was a great time, and it's weird that you've never had another guest since.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just couldn't do any better after that. We figured we'd
The
peaked.
bar is just so high.
Absolutely.
Like, what do you do?
Yes.
Should we be doing Dr. Dolittle, the original?
Oh, the crazy one from
Yeah,
the 50s.
the crazy one.
I'm sure Aubrey would love to do the Eddie Murphy one.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Mm.
But Ed Sullivan also did some writing on the 2000s Charlie's Angels film. He,
Nice.
in 2003, wrote and directed a movie called Levity, which I'd never heard of, but stars Billy Bob Thornton, Morgan Freeman, Kirsten Dunst, and Holly Hunter.
That's a star-studded cast.
Yeah, this was like an indie drama that just went nowhere. And that was what he did actually right leading into this movie.
Speaking of Holly Hunter, I had never seen Raising Arizona until the other day. I watched it for the first time. I thought she was adorable.
Oh, she's great in that movie. And that's a super fun, crazy Coen Brothers film.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's funny to see Nick Cage not just playing Nick Cage for once.
Yep. And Ed Sullivan, in the wake of this film, Jet Ski Wake, he's done movies like the Now You See Me, the first two films, Bill and Ted Face the Music, and he's paired up with Steven Soderbergh, and he worked on the Mosaic TV show. He wrote No Sudden Move, which was a really fantastic film, and he's doing the upcoming film The Christophers with Soderbergh.
Could we just take a jump back to Cam saying the word mosaic as mosaic?
Yeah, I did say it mosaic, didn't I? Yeah.
You really did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you edit that out.
It's
That's
fine.
Staying in
It's
the
fine.
show.
I'll own it.
I noticed it, but I wasn't going to say anything.
I'm not going to. When I see an opportunity, I bite. I clamp down like a rabid dog.
The fun part about this particular combination of this podcast with me as a guest is that we have 3 different versions of English. It's like Canadian. I just assume if people say things like mosaic, I just sound like, oh, it's like Zed. Or like, it's like it's like things I don't say here.
Nope, that was definitely a moment of in my head. I said that wasn't the way to say that, but moving forward. Hopefully, no one noticed.
Scott noticed.
I always notice. Go on, Cam.
Here's where a little bit of confusion is. In November 2000, Variety reported that there would be a remake of the original In-Laws happening at Warner Brothers. They did not announce any writers whatsoever. So that's why I'm unclear whether the writing team was attached to this version in 2000 or if that came later. But they did announce that the film would be called Till Death Do Us Part, and it would be a remake but with a different title, kind of like Father's Little Dividend being Father of the Bride 2, kind of that sort of situation. And it would be directed by Donald Petrie, who had done movies like Mystic Pizza, Grumpy Old Men, and Miss Congeniality. And he's actually the brother of Daniel Petrie Jr., who wrote Beverly Hills Cop, but also notably worked uncredited on Tomorrow Never Dies and was going to oversee the Kaufman spinoff, had that happened.
Oh, another little Bond connection there.
Yeah. So somewhere along the line, that project fell apart under Petrie. He went off and did How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days instead, which worked out very well for him. That was a big box office hit. But Warner Brothers, at the time of this project, saw it as a Michael Douglas, Billy Crystal film.
See, okay, there's something I need to, it's like an elephant in the room.
Sure.
And that elephant is Albert Brooks.
Okay.
I have no idea who he is.
I got him confused. I thought he was the guy who played, like very briefly, I thought he was the guy who played Skipper on Sex and the City, but I very quickly realized it was not him.
So no one saw Finding Nemo?
I know he was in Finding Nemo, only because I looked up on IMDb where I had seen him before.
But it's animated, Cam. I didn't see him in Finding Nemo. I heard him in Finding Nemo.
Or Drive?
So you can't play that.
What about the Ryan Gosling film Drive?
I don't even think I've seen it.
Really? Neither of you?
Nope.
Oh my god. Oh my
Cam
god.
just disappeared up into his own cinephile asshole right there. You watched him explode. It was fun.
A lot of people just suddenly went, Team Cam. Team Cam.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I just don't think he's a name that travels. Like, in Britain, I have no idea who he is. And so when I saw this billing, compared to, Peter Falk and Alan Arkin, that's 2 people I know. Like, that makes sense. When I saw these 2 people, I thought, oh, you got Michael Douglas and then some schmuck.
Okay, so I think that is not an unfair thing to note, especially for people who are younger. Well, frankly, even my age or younger.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Albert Brooks is he's an incredibly popular comedy staple in the 70s and 80s. Movies like Broadcast News, Lost in America, Defending Your Life. These were like really popular comedies that really did grab people in a big way. But he is someone who is more known for being a comedy legend than in terms of what he's doing more in recent years. It really is based on that 70s, 80s work. And then Drive, he's like the villain of the film, but it's more of a character part. He's someone who's always out there still working, but his kind of like the segment of his career that's like carved in granite is that 70s, 80s run.
And I'm a late 80s baby, so...
Yeah.
I'm
and a movie...
90s baby.
Right. And a movie like Lost in America or Defending Your Life, I don't know that they have had the lifespans of, say, some of the other comedies of their time.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, and I'll preface with the fact that we recorded the interview already. So, like, I've had this discussion, this revelation about this guy that he was an actor and a comedian and was well known.
He's still around. He's not dead, Scott. Don't bury him, please.
I'll let himself do that when we get to the review. But it's sort of like, for me, it was weird going into this film. So when you're talking about him in this section, I wonder how many people are on team Karyn and Scott on this one who saw this and go, they see the leads and go, well, who is that guy? And it doesn't have the same hook as Columbo,
sure,
and the one-time Pink Panther.
Hold on. Albert Brooks was also on The Simpsons many times. He actually was the voice of Hank Scorpio.
Oh, yeah, he was on The Simpsons again. Animated, Cameron. I don't know what his face looks like, and I don't read the credits of everything I watch.
I understand that, but do you remember Frank Scorpio, the Bond-like villain that Homer went to work for?
Yeah.
That he was Hank Scorpio.
Okay, so I know that character he played in one episode of The Simpsons.
It's fair. Like, you know his voice work better than his on-screen work. That makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not trying to point
he
fun
is
at you here.
Really he's like really dialing into it on this one. He's like, do you like lead the Albert Brooks Facebook fan club or something? Because it feels like it would be a Facebook fan
deep
club.
Deep in the weeds on Albert Brooks.
Deep in the weeds.
He really is.
Do either of you know who Super Dave Osborne was? Okay. Yeah,
No.
I mean... Okay.
Point for Team Cam.
That was his brother, Bob Einstein. He played like a Evil to Knievel kind of spoof character that was amazing.
Karyn, was it just like he was talking gibberish there? Did your brain freeze?
Like you said, talking in binary. I was like...
It was doing a sort of dolphin noise again, wasn't it?
Let me get my calculator out.
You turn it upside down, it spells... No, I won't get into that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is okay. Cam is trying to bring us back on track. I can hear him like clawing to get us back on the rails. So.
Okay, well,
Fine.
anyways, let's get to the director, who's Andrew Fleming. He's a writer, director, producer from New York. It started out with the horror film Bad Dreams in 1988, and then did the 1994 comedy Threesome, and the 1996, as we've talked about, cult classic The Craft. Did 1999's comedy, which was about Richard Nixon, called Dick. With Kirsten Dunst and Michelle Williams. That movie was like really well reviewed, and no one really went and saw it. And since then, he's done films like Nancy Drew and Hamlet 2, and he's also the person overseeing Emily in Paris, the Netflix series.
Well, we'll hear more about Emily in Paris, I'm sure, in the interview later this week, folks. So make sure you hit subscribe and all that lovely stuff.
That's right. And so both Michael Douglas and Albert Brooks were fans of the movie Dick, which is what brought them to this project. They both signed off because of their fondness for that movie. And Albert Brooks, though, was the one who was more hesitant to make this movie. He said he was really worried about the fact the 1979 film was such a cult classic. But he said, to be honest, I wasn't an in-laws freak, but I knew a lot of people that are. So I went on a computer and looked up the American Film Institute's list of a top 100 film comedies, and it wasn't there. I thought, okay, well, at least it's not number 4.
What was number 4?
I don't have a clue. So you can look that one up if you'd like. Alternate title for this film as well was The Wedding Party. They ultimately went with the actual title, The In-Laws, as the original had. So the Till Death Do Us Part, the wedding party titles were cast aside, and we actually talked to the director about that, so he can explain that one a little more.
And if you want to know what number 4 was,
yeah,
it's Annie Hall.
Okay, Diane Keaton, bringing it back.
Again, just rest in power.
There you go. There you go.
Budget for this movie was $40 million. Domestically, it did 20.5. International, 6.4. For a worldwide total of $26.9 million.
Okay. So...
Not great.
Not great.
No.
Not great. Okay.
And the original did 38.2 in 1979.
Yeah, not great is the
yeah.
is the way to put it.
It did not recoup its
I mean,
budget.
we're recording this in the wake of Tron Ares,
Mm-hmm.
and these sort of like mini reboot remastered things going on. No, okay. Well, you know, a lot of these films go on to take up different lives, and one thing, especially in this era, was DVDs.
Yeah, totally.
You forget, like this is the era of people just have hundreds and hundreds of DVDs. So maybe this did make its money back on home video.
Well, it's funny you say that, because if I go to the thrift stores near me and look through the used DVDs, as I am wont to do, it's amazing when you see how many movies of kind of the years between like 1999 and about 2010 are always in these piles. It's like people are just buying anything.
I definitely had The Matrix. I had Triple X. I'm just trying to think of ones I had from that specific era.
Yeah.
All of mine were like Harry Potter, The Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
Maybe some chick flicks. Like, I think I had Princess Diaries 1 on VHS, but Princess Diaries 2 was on DVD because that came out a few years later. And we finally had a DVD player at that point.
Do you remember those days where it was like you brought home the DVD player and it was exciting? It was like, oh my God, I guess I can watch these like discs, and it was so cool. Same with VHS and being like, this is so cool. And now you don't even get to hold stuff.
Well, you can if you buy 4K Blu-rays.
I was about to say, buy physical media, folks,
Yeah.
because that feeling can still exist, but it feels like it's disappearing by the day.
I got my 4K in the mail of Weapons yesterday. I was very excited.
I've still not seen that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I
Okay.
had to explain to a very younger friend of mine the other day what Netflix used to be, and like that we called it, you know, it was like this shipping DVDs to your house, and then it was Netflix Instant was like the original streaming service name, and he was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
You had to wait.
You had to wait.
Can you imagine?
And check the mail. I don't even like to check the mail now.
We don't even have mail right now. We're on strike. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, the film landed at number 125 for the year at the worldwide box office between Ruby and Quentin, which was a Gerard Depardieu and Jean Reno action comedy, and In America, the Jim Sheridan film. The top three: number 1 was Return of the King, number 2 was Finding Nemo, and number 3, The Matrix Reloaded.
Matrix Reloaded is an underrated film. I'll go to bat for that.
No, it's not.
Okay, it's not.
So a couple of final notes. Ryan Reynolds loved David Suchet so much in this film that he got him cast in the Canadian heist thriller Foolproof the same year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a film. Canada decided that it wanted to put its resources behind competing with the US in terms of like putting out like a kind of slick studio film. And so they made this heist thriller called Foolproof with Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart, and no one saw it.
Amy Smart. I know that name. No, I don't know that name.
Okay, well, there you go.
I'm not smart. I'm not smart enough, apparently.
We're not smart enough for Amy.
You didn't see Crank?
I
Yeah.
saw.
Okay,
Crank.
well, she's the lead of Crank next to Jason Statham.
Oh.
Which is not okay. She's the second in Crank.
Yeah.
She's the Crank X.
Female lead.
The Crank.
I'm really rubbing Cam the wrong way today. I can hear his teeth like rattling.
The final note before we get to the review and we give our thoughts on the film at the 51-minute mark. Michael Douglas and Albert Brooks pitched reviving the Hope and Crosby Road pictures. They wanted to do a film. They talked about it on the press tour, and Fleming confirmed that this was something that they were shopping around. They wanted to do a movie called Road to Iran, where they would have to defuse the nuclear reactor and pick up chicks.
Where do I start?
It's giving The Interview vibes.
If this ever wraps up the behind the scenes, there you go.
So we're not allowed to reply to the Iran film.
Is there anything to reply to?
No, I guess not.
Did the chicks help them defuse the bomb, the nuclear reactor, or were they just...
You can bet that they make their job harder, because that's the kind of thing we would have in that film.
That's true. That's very true. Oh, these women just constantly tripping over them.
Yeah,
they're probably gonna nag us and just like, oh, here we go. Oh, shucks.
From Adams Morgan to Anacostia Park, we all want safer neighborhoods. But what does real safety mean? Real safety means preventing crime before it happens. By having police work with communities to disrupt cycles of violence, by supporting families with stable housing, and providing more mental health and drug treatment. We know that adding more police and locking up more people doesn't make us safer. Real safety means investing in the things that help prevent crime. Learn more at Real Safety DC.
Make holiday gifting easy with Pura's Black Friday sale. Take up to 30% off site-wide, including curated gift sets, diffusers for home and car, and single scents that make perfect stocking stuffers. For a limited time at Pura.com.
And speaking of our shucks, here we go. Let's talk about the in-laws. I really want to hear from you, Karyn, because Cam and I have already professed our love for each other in front of our friends and family and all the listeners around the world when we talked about the first film. So let's hear your wedding vows.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I was, again, very struck by how heavily they kind of jump you into, it's a spy film, right at the very beginning with all of the titles and literally live and let die as the soundtrack. And I don't know. I thought it was like a pretty fun action sequence. I tend to kind of, my brain turns into TV static during action sequences and I don't really know what's going on. And then I'm like, loud noises, people driving cars. And then it finally calms down and I'm like able to put it back together, which just happens.
Sure.
But I don't know. It was a compelling opening scene. I definitely wasn't expecting that because of the way that my headcanon was going into it.
Well, let me pull you back. Instead of like looking at that opener in the abstract, like let's just go broader. Like the film itself. What did that leave you with the feeling of? Like, what did you think about the whole film?
I felt like there were some genuinely funny moments, and then there were some that maybe fell flat. That might have been handled differently, with a different cast. I thought Michael Douglas's constant, trying to kind of pal around with Jer, calling him Jer, and I don't know. I found that kind of funny. And then it was really interesting to see I haven't seen early career Ryan Reynolds in a while, but it's always funny to be like, he really has just been the same guy for so long. And then I don't know. I felt like it was maybe trying to be kind of like we're going to loosen this guy up, buddy comedy, but it just maybe didn't quite hit the mark for me.
I think that's entirely fair. Whenever I think of early Ryan Reynolds, I think of two guys, a girl, and a pizza place.
Right.
Or Waiting, I guess, is kind of early-ish. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember.
Was he in Pizza Place? I'm not wrong with that, right?
No, you're right.
Yeah. Okay, that's the only early Ryan Reynolds I have, but he looks like he's just off of that. It can't be many years past that.
So it's, I think, after Van Wilder.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a cult thing. And he talked on I believe the press tour for this movie about how he was going to be doing the movie Waiting, which was that comedy about servers in a restaurant that became a bit of a cult thing too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was pre-Waiting. We were very struck. My girlfriend watched it with me. We were very struck by his, how well done his eyebrows looked for like
I noticed that too,
a
actually.
man in the 2000s. I don't know. It was just like, I was like, okay, so like we had no eyebrows back then. And I guess like the men in Hollywood also felt like they were supposed to have groomed eyebrows. I'm not really sure.
His tweezer game was on point.
Absolutely.
I mean, one thing people talk about with men and the male loneliness epidemic and you know, all that sort of stuff. You know, men don't get a lot of compliments, and when they do, they tend to hold on to them. And one of the earliest compliments I ever got was that I have fantastic eyebrows. And since then, I will not let anyone touch my eyebrows. And I will never forget that moment when they said I have fantastic eyebrows.
As you should.
Has anyone else ever followed up that compliment?
No one's ever mentioned them, because where would they go from there? They know
Sure.
that, like I know. We all know.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's the highest amount of hair on my head now. That's the real problem.
I get eyebrow compliments a lot too. They're very dark for someone as pale as I am.
Cam's not going to talk about his
No,
eyebrows. That's fine.
moving on.
He doesn't.
Moving
he doesn't
on.
want us to talk about eyebrows. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. It sounds like you had an okay time with it, Karyn. Didn't all of it work for you? But there was moments that you laughed, and that's kind of what you need from a comedy in this era. It's just a nice way to spend an hour and a half. Absolutely fine. For me, it was a bit of a different story. I didn't like the first film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it worked for me. And I said it on the episode. There were moments where I laughed, but and I understand it made the knock list because of our guest and Cam. I've made my peace with that. That's absolutely fine.
You really sound like you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure when we get to knock list regrets at the end of the year, I might bring this topic back up again.
Okay.
But until then,
If anyone ever says they've made peace with something, it absolutely means they have not. It's my experience.
Look, Cam spent many years like holding things over for me that I've picked and made to the list that he hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I need one
Sure.
to make it equal. So going into this film, I was like, I didn't know who the other lead was, so I didn't really have any of that sort of connective tissue. I knew who Michael Douglas was, and I was like, I'm willing to give this another shot because I didn't like the first one, but this is obviously a reimagining in many ways of the original story with some changes to it, and I think I come down on the same side of it as Karyn. I think it works for me more than the original does. I think it feels like a more cohesive film than the original does. It feels more professional, far less ad-libbed. And it feels very much akin to a comedy of that era. You play this next to Meet the Fockers or like American Pie. They're not exactly the same films, but they kind of look similar. The jokes are a similar style, and so it does kind of fit into that sort of nostalgia feel for me of that era. The comedies I was watching, the sort of mid-era Adam Sandler films, all that sort of stuff. I'm not comparing them to that. I'm just saying they feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was kind of nice to go. It's easier for me to access. One thing that you and David Goodman were talking about when we all spoke about The In-Laws is it was like a film that meant more to you because it was more of your era, especially David.
Yeah.
And so like this feels more my era
Mm-hmm.
of comedy, what I grew up with. So I think I found it far more accessible. On the other hand, I think again a lot of the jokes fell flat for me. And there are a couple of jokes I think that have definitely aged badly that we could talk about. But there is some like context to that too, which is interesting. But I think on the whole, I kind of left it going. It's a more successful way of telling that story, but maybe overall the perhaps more esoteric way they told it in the original is more interesting because it was more zany.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I'm going to respond to that, but also I guess dovetail into my own thoughts because they're kind of connected, which is that like you go into a movie like this and look, I was aware of the critical reception. I was aware of the box office performance when I watched this movie. And I'm also aware of the original's cult status. Mm-hmm. So you go, okay, well, this is, in terms of the larger world, the way they look at this movie, the inferior remake. And so I'm going into an inferior remake. Okay, fine. And I watch it and I'm like, I kind of get why, and you'll listen to the interview with the director later this week, and you'll kind of hear him talk about how, like, they weren't really trying to remake the original. they were trying to do their own thing with the premise. And that's why they were looking at alternate titles. And I didn't have that information when I watched the movie, but I did watch the movie going like, it's really even hard to compare because just tonally, they're completely different. The original has that kind of stripped down 70s, very grounded realism approach to that kind of material. Like the way that Alan Arkin responds to things, the comedy comes from the fact it's like he's behaving the way a normal human would when presented with something that is absolutely insane. And that to me is what makes that movie such a triumph and why it's so funny. Whereas like this film is a slick studio 2000s comedy. And the question then is, okay, did it make me laugh? And that's where to me it fell short. There was little bits that I was amused by, but I just felt like it never really connected in a way that got it across the line in terms of inspiration. It was like, okay, the pairing is fun. The idea of Michael Douglas and Albert Brooks, who I'm much more familiar with both of them, putting the two of them together in a movie should be something to celebrate because they never worked together before. They wanted to work together again doing The Road to Iran. So, clearly they felt that there was chemistry there. They felt that they had a connection on screen. And I do think the two of them seem like a good pair. And I think that's something that both films have, which is that they are good pairs. It's just that this one, to me, never really connects comedically. And that can go back to the screenplay. It can go back to just inspiration on the set in the moment. But this one is just, like so many comedies, the majority of the comedies, it just kind of falls by the wayside. It's why I've always said, in a given year, you probably get like one, maybe two really great comedies. And the rest of them, you may see some that you'll laugh a couple times, but you'll never remember them. No. It's like you'll go, okay, you go back and go, okay, well, 40-Year-Old Virgin in like the year 2005, I think it was. Like that one's always going to stand out as the big comedy. That and Wedding Crashers of that year. But you're not going to remember some of the other films, that came out, a bunch of the other comedies that came out that year. That's how I kind of feel about this movie. It's there. It's not. I didn't find it a painful sit at all, but I found it a movie that just was lacking that kind of inspiration.
Yeah, and I think if I was going to say there's any magic to the original, is the fact that it feels improvisational a little bit. Like you don't know what's going to happen next. It feels very scatty. Whereas this feels very much like the formula version of this comedy, of this story.
Yeah.
But it also goes to show that this story has an inherent sort of good idea in there, because I think the idea works in both films, and it's just telling that same basic concept from different perspectives. You're doing the sort of improvisational, dirty 70s version, and then perhaps the more like mainstream appropriate version with this. And I think we'll get into it in the interview later this week. It is unfortunate that we will naturally compare the two films. I think that's where Karyn's going to come in really handy with this discussion, because you haven't got that bias.
True. I mean, for me, like you said, it really just kind of felt like a comedy of its era. Like I really did love like the American Pie series. Like I think I forget what else you mentioned, but those kind of like almost teeny bopper, like almost like rom-com sort of like that era, like an ungodly amount of low-cut jeans. That's it felt like that to me, and I definitely like knew that there was another movie because you had to specify and be like, make sure it's the 2003 one. But I definitely didn't realize how much of like a hit that movie was before this, and then kind of seeing how it didn't do super, super well at the box office is like interesting to me, because I feel like it either goes like one way or another. It like goes super well and it's even more popular than the first one, or like it doesn't do well at all.
Well, it's interesting because I just pulled up a list of 2003 comedies, and the first thing I'll note is that Spy Kids 3D came out in 2003. So apparently that is your SpyHards year.
Yeah, you have to tackle 2003 films from this point forward.
Didn't this premiere on the same weekend as Evan Almighty? Or not Evan Almighty, Bruce Almighty.
Oh, I hope not, for its sake.
Yeah, Bruce. Yeah, well, Bruce Almighty came out this year.
I think it was. I think that I read somewhere that it came out the same weekend. So I was like,
oh God,
rough.
Yeah, that's tough. But it's just some of the other comedies that came out this year, just for context. I won't do it in like lists of quality. I'll just read some out.
Yeah.
Scary Movie 3, Daddy Daycare, Legally Blonde 2, Anger Management, Cheaper by the Dozen, Haunted Mansion, Holes, Johnny English,
Wow.
American Wedding. So you've got the third American Pie film by that point. Charlie's Angels 2, Bad Boys 2, Lost in Translation. Like, yeah,
well, these are getting into more like, once you start naming Bad Boys 2 and Lost in Translation, it's like action films and like independent comedy dramas. Like that first batch you named.
Okay, well, like Kangaroo Jack is in there. Freaky Friday is in there. Freaky Friday, Calendar Girls. That's a beloved film. Elf came out this year.
There you go. There's the big one of the year. But Freaky Friday is also a very important one as well.
I was going to say, Freaky Friday was pretty big, I felt like. But I was also a teenage girl.
Yeah.
As a teenage boy at that time, it was also fun.
But that first batch you named was like a real string of movies that were not very good. Johnny English is obviously something that spawned a franchise, but the lion's share of the other ones you mentioned were pretty rough.
Well, I think it just goes to show, like, you don't get many comedies now in 2025. Like, Naked Gun came out this year and just like disappeared.
Yeah,
it's like a fart. Like, it just evaporated.
Despite being really funny.
We saw it together in the theater, Cam. It was a really funny film. We were laughing the whole way through.
Yeah,
it was just no one else was in the theater with us.
Yeah.
And that was opening weekend. Like, it was a real damn shame, I would say. But then, like, there's like 40 comedies this year in 2003,
and some of them were very big and like very, I don't know. I felt like they were, maybe the critics or like the box office didn't do so well, but they were like big in my life, I guess. Like things like Bruce Almighty and I don't know, some of the other ones you mentioned. Like it was kind of like going down like a little nostalgia list for me.
You're clearly a big What a Girl Wants fan.
I did. Okay, it's a terrible movie, but I did love What a Girl Wants, and I had the soundtrack. I'm pretty sure.
For saying it's a terrible movie, you just dropped like 2 bits of information that makes you a super fan of What a Girl Wants.
It's fine. So, it's fine. I can. Yeah. The both can be true.
Fine. I mean, Amanda Bynes Goes to Britain. What more could you want?
Yeah, that's definitely one of those American Girl is the darling of all the Brits because she's like loosening them up or whatever, and it's like it's us being up our own asses about how cool we are compared to you guys,
What's that line? Stiff-ass Brit? I'm sure the British comedies that came out this year had a few jokes about Americans too, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. We have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah,
it's always been that way.
It goes back to that whole war thing,
The tea thing, like you wasted some good tea. I still get annoyed about that.
Who says it was good tea?
What's that song from Hamilton? You'll be back or whatever. Yeah, well, I won't get into that common. Well, okay, let's talk about likes then, Cam. There are some things to celebrate about this film. We've all got our moments, I'm sure. Karyn, I'll go to you first. What's something you particularly enjoyed about the film?
I thought that young Ryan Reynolds was fun. There were some line takes where I was like, only Ryan Reynolds would deliver this line like this, and it's only funny because he delivered it like that. I like the one that comes to mind is, "Oh, an unconscious person, you must be working." Like, and I mean that generally got like a big laugh out of me. But I don't know. I've been like a fan of his very sarcastic, arrogant. I don't know what you would call it. His Ryan Reynolds-ness.
Well, I liked seeing Ryan Reynolds in this film too. There's a moment I think outside the restaurant they go to very early on where he delivers a line, and I'm like, that's a Ryan Reynolds delivery.
Yes,
100% Ryan Reynolds.
And they give him a little bit of action at the end of the film as well, which is obviously something he'll be doing a lot more of in the future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they douse him in water, which when is that not fun?
Ryan Reynolds is also like a very below the radar spy regular.
Yeah.
Because you have him in this, Safe House. We saw him in Criminal, and there's more stuff. Like he's in a whole bunch of movies.
Have we ever spoken about him on the Patreon?
On the Patreon, no.
We should do a Ryan Reynolds month.
Why?
Oh, okay. All right.
Like, is there a reason why we're doing this?
Okay, patrons, you know what you're not getting now.
Yeah, don't worry, folks. It's not coming soon. So there you go. For me, I I first of all just like the fact that it felt like a more streamlined version of the story, a more accessible way of watching this. I think it just falls back into that nostalgia pocket of comedies of this era, which are all things I was ingesting at that time. It just felt more cohesive, and I think that was something I missed from the original version.
Wow. I don't know what to say to that. More cohesive.
Cam is absolutely speechless for once.
Look, sometimes people like to go and listen to scat music and jazz, and that's absolutely fine. They have their place. It's good, I'm sure. It does my head in.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely does my head in. I like order and consistency, and this is very much a comedy you can understand beginning, middle, and end. It doesn't challenge you that much like the original does, and I'm okay with that sometimes.
Well, was there any like set pieces or moments that kind of played to your comedic sensibilities?
I quite like the big sort of showdown with the jet ski and the submarine and the wedding, and
it's very playful.
Stunts and stuff, very playful. And then the big driving spy scene at the start. I think like it was. This film was a big budget for Andrew Fleming. We'll talk about that later this week, but it's not a big budget film for the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they did all right with the money they had, I think, on that sort of opening action sequence.
Well, like the moment at the end where like Albert Brooks does the callback to the attack alarm that he pulls out that he carries with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of thing that's like very like it's a minor thing within the context of the film, but like it is a callback to something that was set up at the start. They find a way to organically work it into the resolution to the film, and it's silly, but the movie makes it work, and it's something that could have like just broken the movie at that point.
Sure.
Chekhov's alert device.
Yeah, like something you have a guy, with like this horn causing a torpedo to pursue him and take down a nuclear missile. Like that could have been a movie-ending disaster moment, but it actually works.
I thought a little moment with Albert Brooks too that I liked is when he's doing the lecture with all the medical students, and he's got the patient in the chair, and he's like, and this guy will need surgery. And the patient's like, you didn't tell me that. He's like, you'll lose a toe, tops. It rarely happens.
My favorite joke from the film is actually not from any of the main cast. It's from the mother. Maria Ricossa is her name, and it's basically when the CIA turn up at the family's house, and they're trying to find like uranium or something like that. And they go up to the boss man. They go, "Sir, we've swept the house. It's clean." And she goes, "Oh, thanks."
Well, it's like those little throwaway moments to me in the movie are where the laughs came from. It's a line like that, or I was very amused when they went on Barbra Streisand's plane, and there was the Muzak version of "The Way We Were" playing, and it's not like they call attention to it. It's not like they go, "Oh, I know that song." It's just like something that's just underlying the scene, and it's so funny.
Just peppered in.
What song would be playing in your plane, Cam?
Well, I did do a rap album back in the day, Scott, so it might be the Muzak version of one of those songs.
I don't think you've ever actually admitted that on the show before. I knew this to be a fact, and I've heard some of it before, but the fact that it's out there now, you might have just... that there are some very voracious listeners that might go and track down you dropping some filthy beats.
Speaking of Patreon content...
it was not filthy beats, actually. Well... filthy rhymes or filthy beats? Maybe the beats were filthy, but the rhymes were not.
That's the most British album summation I've ever seen.
British Columbian.
Sure.
Yes, but listeners will not be able to find it because it is thoroughly offline. But I will say this: I do a rap intro to a podcast out there.
Oh, you do?
Not a podcast.
Yeah,
not a podcast with me on it. Start digging, folks.
You can find it. If you can find the intro, folks, I challenge anyone listening, if you can find the intro of Cam rapping on that podcast, I won't name it because I'll give it away, but there's a podcast where Cam does a rap for the intro. Drop us an email, mail@spyhards.com. Let us know you found it, and I'll see if I can sort something special out for you.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
We'll give you a hint. Beam me up.
Okay, there's a lot of podcasts that involve that. That's still not that big of a hint, so yeah, fair enough. But Cam, you haven't given us your like.
I think to me, the thing I enjoyed the most about this movie is the star power attached to it is well utilized. I think like it's easy to take big, massive stars, throw them in a movie, and there's so many examples. I think of like Wild Hogs with like the Tim Allen and John Travolta. Like that was a movie that's just like, here's big stars in one of the worst comedies you've ever seen. And then they did that sequel, Old Dogs, or the kind of the quasi sequel. It's like, to me, that's just like lazy use of them. Whereas I didn't feel that way with this movie. I think it did a really good job finding fun angles for everyone to play. I mean, Albert Brooks is doing his classic sort of nervous Nelly kind of character, but they find fun angles on it by putting him in action situations, and that's not something that we'd really seen too much before. Michael Douglas playing... It's interesting contrasting him against Peter Falk, where Peter Falk also had a very similar kind of upbeat, you can do this kind of energy, like constantly kind of talking to kind of smooth over situations and being very positive. Whereas like Michael Douglas plays it much more as like almost like a car salesman type, like a very slick car salesman who would dupe you into buying a car. You would be driving off that lot with a new vehicle if Michael Douglas is selling it to you. But the way he kind of ingratiates himself into, Albert Brooks's life and all the other characters, it's like quite effective, and it, I think, plays well with that kind of that flip side of Michael Douglas so often plays sleazy guy, and here he's kind of likable sleazy guy. And so I think that works. Candice Bergen shows up for a few scenes as Michael Douglas's ex-wife. Perfect casting. If anyone could control the Michael Douglas character, it would be her. Like, that's the only woman who could probably be married to him, because he would be completely, like, just gone. Anyone else trying to even wrangle this man, I could believe Candice Bergen could do it, because you watch her on shows like Murphy Brown. This is a woman who could get the job done with Michael Douglas. And I thought actually Robin Tunney as his sidekick was actually a fun little addition. That's not something in the original film at all. The idea that he has this kind of quasi-daughter character with him that ultimately pulls the carpet out underneath him and has a twist, I thought that was pretty fun too. And the fact that she was constantly going toe-to-toe with Albert Brooks, that worked. I thought, like, as an addition, that's one of the ones that did. And this movie also expands on the family in a way the original did not. The family's kind of an afterthought. You don't really spend very much time with them whatsoever. Whereas in this case, when you've got stars like Ryan Reynolds, and I actually thought Lindsay Sloane as his daughter was actually quite good as well. It was just like charismatic people in a movie where it felt like they were well used.
I remember Lindsay Sloane from, I think it's Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That's what I remember her from, as one of her friends most of the time. That's my only connection to her. So it was weird seeing her in a film, because I'm used to her just following Sabrina around and the cat.
That fake-looking cat, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think I had the supporting cast down. I think Candice Bergen turns up and delivers something way beyond this film.
Oh yeah.
She's in another ballpark, and Tunney as well. Like, she's playing Arch, but it works in this film.
Yeah, and she was in The Craft, of course, as well, with obviously the same director. So it's a fun little reunion there.
The only other thing I had to mention in terms of likes is, and this is a serious one, it's about time that the debilitating condition of wet bones was spoken about on television and film.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Agents, we don't expect you to talk. We expect you to buy a subscription to our Patreon.
Yee, that's right. Over on the SpyHards Patreon, we're covering all your favorite spy TV shows, as well as popular films from the most iconic secret agent actors of all time.
Cam, why don't you share some intel on our latest assignment?
People, we are kicking off our shoes and going for a frolic, because this week on the Patreon, we are ending our Robert Redford month by taking a look at the film that made him a household name. That's right, we're looking at the 1967 film Barefoot in the Park, starring Robert Redford and Jane Fonda, and based on the Neil Simon play of the same name. Will this romantic comedy still sparkle? We are gonna find out.
So, tune your dial to patreon.com/spyhards and spice up your podcast feed.
But before Nick Nack runs out of Tabasco, resume the Spy Jinx.
AI is transforming customer service. It's real and it works. And with Finn, we've built the #1 AI agent for customer service. We're seeing lots of cases where it's solving up to 90% of real queries for real businesses. This includes the real-world complex stuff like issuing a refund or cancelling an order. And we also see it when Finn goes up against competitors. It's top of all the performance benchmarks, top of the G2 leaderboard, and if you're not happy, we'll refund you up to $1 million, which I think says it all. Check it out for yourself at fin.ai.
When you're in love, everything feels electric. Every glance, every laugh, every promise of tomorrow. And when it's time to ask the most important question of your life, you need a ring that tells your story perfectly.
That's where Tacori engagement rings come in. Handcrafted in California, every Tacori is made with passion and artistry.
Blending modern sophistication with the iconic crescent silhouette. Each ring is built not just to shine, but to symbolize love that lasts forever.
And forever starts here.
At Mervis Diamond Importers, we're DC's premier source for Tacori and the world's most brilliant natural diamonds. Couples have trusted us for generations because we offer more than rings. We offer guidance, expertise, and a deeply personal experience.
Imagine the moment you open the box and the Tacori diamond engagement ring sparkles. And the answer is yes. It's the beginning of forever.
And it starts with Tacori, only at Mervis.
Mervis Diamond Importers, the premier destination for Tacori and fine quality diamonds in DC. Make an appointment at mervisdiamond.com or call 800-HER-LOVE.
All right, let's turn that frown upside down, or the opposite of that, I suppose. It's dislikes time. What didn't work for us about the film? I just want to tackle something I set up earlier, because this is talking about a comedy, and we love setups and payoffs. Some of the jokes in this film haven't aged all that well. Yeah. There's one very early on where he drops the hard R word, which made me kind of go, okay. And then there's one right at the end referring to David Suchet having a great time in prison because he's gay.
Yeah, when you said hard R word, there's another hard R word, I think, in North America that we would be responding to with that one.
Okay. Well, if you can qualify that better than me,
You're
please.
referring to like the R word for sexual assault, yes.
Sure. I didn't want to say that either, but yeah, fine.
I thought you were talking about a different R word altogether, so okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I'm glad Cam clarified that.
But I do remember what you're referring to now. Yeah.
And I again, like it is kind of comedy of that era anyway. I shouldn't really beat this film with that stick too much because a lot of the films I listed earlier have quite racy jokes. And we've perhaps homogenized comedy a little bit since then. But yeah, so I try not to hold it to the values of today, but those moments did make me have kind of just like lean back and go, oh, every time I heard them.
I think it's like fine to have racy jokes, and I think we should, I think there are topics that we need to joke about in order to like bring awareness to them, but it's like the difference between punching up and punching down, like both of those jokes kind of read as punching down, which like, at least to me, I don't laugh at that. Like, it just doesn't make it as funny. And like, I don't know, maybe it would have been more funny to me in 2003. I would hope not. Maybe it probably would have gone over my head because I was like 10. But like, I think like, to me, it's important to distinguish like, yeah, I'm fine with like us making jokes about like, hard topics, but it's like, we have to like, it has to be funny and it has to be like for the right reasons, I guess, in my opinion.
Well, I think you got it perfectly on the head there. It's punching down.
Yeah.
Certainly those two occasions at least. And I'm sure there are a couple other moments in the film that I'm not springing to my mind. Cam might jump in.
I mean, there's the whole David Suchet character, which,
sure,
like when you had the general showing up in the original with the sock puppet,
yeah,
honestly, incredible. Still hilarious. Like that character, I love to pieces, but like, they were obviously trying to go in a different direction with this character, do something a little different, because you can't replicate the dude with the sock puppet. It's just not going to work. But what they went with was kind of like basically gay panic on the part of Albert
I wrote
Brooks.
down gay panic.
Yeah, and that's the joke, which, I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe there's something to like the David Suchet character is someone who keeps insisting he's straight, and obviously is maybe leaning the other way, but is in denial of that. And maybe there's like
Sure.
some sort of comedy you could find with that character, but it never really connected with me because, I mean, here's the thing. If there's a kind of problematic setup to the character, but you sit there and you laugh through the movie, you go, well, like, clearly the filmmakers pulled that off. Whatever they were trying to do, it connected in the moment, and I did find it funny in the moment. But here, I never laughed, so it obviously was falling flat. So it was kind of a question where you go, like, was that the right angle to take with that character? Like, should they have tried something completely different?
I think that it's interesting to me, like, to think, like, did people laugh at this in 2003, or are these just bad jokes? You know, like,
I don't think this was a well-received movie, so I wouldn't say people walked out saying, you know, comic gold.
Right. So, like, I mean, I think even give it like we're looking at it from 2025, it's like, you know, maybe we would have just been kind of like, it's another gay panic joke. I mean, there was so much gay panic. That's like all I remember growing up is like the stereotypical portrayal of like gay men specifically. I didn't even like know what a lesbian was until I was like, you know, way more aware of like growing up. But so I don't know. I feel like it's just like yet another trope from that time period that like people were probably getting tired of anyway.
Well, there's like the bit where the FBI is pursuing our two leads through the movie, and Michael Douglas blackmails the main guy at the end to stay away from the wedding by revealing that he has photos of this FBI agent in drag. And he's like, well, I was young. And Michael Douglas is like, well, careful, you know. And it's like, that's the kind of gag where you go, you know, in 2025, you're like, oh, this is aged like soggy bread. But I can guarantee that type of gag litters throughout the movie, like the comedies of the early 2000s.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a dislike from me in the sense of I don't think it was funny. Whether it, you know, in retrospectively or not, I don't think those jokes were funny. And nowadays they kind of slap you in the face a little bit when you hear them. So for new viewers who might go and watch this film because of our review, there's that. I think we'll probably hit most of you watching it.
Yeah.
What about you, Karyn? Something didn't work for you?
Oh, is it like a stereotype that CIA agents are also magicians? Like, is that supposed to be, or was that just like an extra thing that they added in there to be like, oh, this is just specifically Michael Douglas's character? So I was like,
I was wondering if that was almost a nod to Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible films, because he does close-up magic, starting with the very first film.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen the Mission Impossible movies.
It's entirely possible. I mean, they're masters of subterfuge, so sleight of hand is the perfect sort of way of learning that trade craft, I suppose. But yeah, when I saw that, I did sort of think of Mission Impossible and a few other people that have done magic, close-up magic. I did that like James Bond. Magic, close-up magic.
I was also personally offended by the what is it, like the FBI is on us like trailer trash on Velveeta joke. I was like, I have lived in a trailer and Velveeta is not that bad.
Is it okay that I don't know what Velveeta is?
Oh, okay. Well, it's a very uniquely American thing. So it's basically just like, I couldn't even describe to you. It's processed cheese, but it's made for melting. So like,
oh, you guys love your processed cheese.
We do love our processed cheese. I try not to eat it so much anymore. But it comes in a gelatinous block that you cut up. It's great for like soups, like if you're making.
You're not selling it.
No, I'm not trying to. But I don't know. In a pinch, Velveeta. If you don't know how to make a bechamel, which at the time I did not.
Sure.
Not too bad.
I remember when I first went to Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Philly cheesesteak, and he said, like, how do you want it? And I go, well, what's the usual? And he goes, okay, yep, no worries, I'll do it for you. And done it, and then it's covered in this like neon orange cheese, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? We have cheddar and red Leicester in my country.
Yeah.
What on earth is this? And then I was sick to my stomach for the rest of the day. Cam remembers me on the other end of that Philly cheesesteak.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was something.
I will say when you get American cheese in the US, you have to skip over the ones that say pasteurized cheese product, because that is not real cheese. There is a real American cheese that you can get sliced from the deli that hopefully would not make you sick, and that's what I like to put on my Philly cheesesteaks. But I'm also not from Philly, so.
Well, one day we can get a Philly cheesesteak not in Philly together, and you can make sure I don't make myself sick again.
Okay. We'll just make some. We'll make them at home.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. Cam, anything for us?
Yes, the cinematography in this movie is terrible.
Ah.
Like, this is a ugly looking film, and comedy does not have to have stellar cinematography to work. A lot of comedies don't look that great, but like this one in particular, I just found like almost an eyesore. And I looked up the cinematographer. It's Alexander Grzinski, who's basically been Andrew Fleming's go-to cinematographer on all of his projects, really. But he also did some movies like Tremors, which stands out. Like Tremors is a really fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, and he did 54, the Mike Myers, Salma Hayek film about Studio 54 back in the day in the 90s. But like right from the get-go, there's like a day for night action sequence, the one set to Live and Let Die.
Sure.
And I was like, what is wrong with this? Like, it just looks really bad. And that continued through the entirety of the film. I just thought like any shot in the movie, like in terms of like blocking and the way the actors are positioned within the frame was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like the lenses they were using, it just looked consistently cheap or ugly in a way that is very rare to come across. Like the sequence that really like just stands out like a sore thumb is the base jumping sequence, where you have the characters, jumping off the tower.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, look, they don't have a ton of money. This is not going to look impeccable from an effects standpoint, but the cinematography does it no favors whatsoever.
No, I remember us discussing this one briefly off air. It is not the best looking spy film, but I can forgive a lot of those sins personally because it's a comedy and I don't hold that to the sort of same standards as I would some other action spy films. And also I have to imagine Albert Brooks and Michael Douglas probably asked for quite a pretty penny too.
Yeah, but to me there's a difference between functional cinematography and actively bad cinematography, and I would put this in the latter. And like, look, maybe, this guy did The Craft, he did Dick, he did a lot of these other films, and maybe in terms of those films, it's fine. But in terms of what they were going for visually here, it just fell completely flat.
Yeah, I think it's his. I know that it's his first foray into this level of action. So
yeah,
I think this is his like fourth studio film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So things to learn, and we'll discuss that with Andrew later this week. I just wanted to drop in some of the needle drops in this film. The Casey and the Sunshine Band with the floor coming out the floor, I think was quite fun. But that
was fun. Yeah,
that was nice. I liked that. But some of the other needle drops I found a bit distracting. And apparently there was a Lalo Schifrin score recorded for this that wasn't used in the end. Lalo Schifrin, of course, did the Mission Impossible theme and a bunch of other spy movies throughout his illustrious career. So we'll talk to Andrew about why that score wasn't used in the end.
What did you think of the Live and Let Die usage?
I thought it was a great way of opening the film. It gave it a real punch, and you're like, oh, because my expectations weren't that high for this film. So they give me that, and I'm like, okay, all right, we're cooking on gas. Yeah. Let's keep going.
It's funny because it's a moment that's on the nose, in a way, but it's also something we've never seen before because Live and Let Die is not a song that's usually sold to other films. Like it's not obviously lent out. So the fact that they had it was actually the novelty. And the one that was maybe a little lazier was the Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head from Butch Cassidy showing up at the end with the wave sequence at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That one I was like,
having now seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, it feels like any other film that uses that is using it badly.
Yeah, and this is actually, I guess it's a year before Spider-Man 2 uses it, and I thought they used it much better to a very like funny little sequence, like a montage of Peter turning his life around.
There was one song that I don't know the title of, or it was in the kind of first maybe quarter of the film, and it was like sort of a trip hoppy, like Portishead adjacent sort of, but it was like very distracting to me. And like my girlfriend and I both looked at each other and we were like, what is this? Why is this in this film? It was out of place in a weird way that like I just couldn't place.
I mean, this is a film that throws like "Get Down Tonight," "Word Up" is in here.
Oh, Word Up, yeah.
I'm just looking at some. There's a lot of like big songs that were used for this.
Maybe that's where the budget went.
Yeah.
Live and Let Die had to be pretty expensive.
Well, there's a story there that you can tune in on Friday to find all about.
Teaser.
I do like to. Okay, final notes, and we'll get to the knock list. Well, I have two things. Firstly, it's interesting to see the change from a dentist to a podiatrist. We call them chiropodists in the UK, so that's I had to learn that was a different name.
Interesting.
And I guess they were trying to go for like the world's most boring job that you are also technically a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I give them points for not going with like something worse, something where it's just cringy,
like a chiropractor,
or just dirtier. Like,
oh yeah,
you know.
Oh yeah.
Like a proctologist or something.
Proctologist would have been like the 2000s crass way to take that, and I appreciated they didn't go that way.
Mm-hmm. And now, listeners who love James Bond will know in the film Moonraker there is a pigeon that does a double take, and you might ask, how can a pigeon do an actual double take? Well, that's never answered. But fortunately, this film has the one-up from the double take.
Okay.
It has David Suchet doing a triple take.
Oh, right.
That I had to go back and rewatch about 3 times to keep the triple theme up. It is the most like on the nose comedy like that you can ever get, but I think only David Suchet could pull it off.
I glossed right over that one, I have to tell you.
Yeah, that one didn't jump out to me hugely, but I'm glad that it did to you, Scott.
Yeah.
That's what this section of the podcast is for.
Yeah, exactly. Cam, any notes?
I've got a few. The CG in this movie was very rough. Mm-hmm. That submarine and the Nova Scotia setup at the start of the movie, right off the bat, I was like, uh-oh, this is screensaver land of the 2000s, which was a very common...
I do kind of expect that, though, from a comedy in the 2000s, I guess.
It's a very familiar place to be, for sure.
Comforting like a warm blanket.
There was a few other things. I thought the meter maid high-powered truck they had was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
The Robin Tunney stunt double on the back of it was very obvious on a 4K TV.
Yep, just hiding her head behind the top of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought Michael Douglas's knee darts was a pretty fun riff on a James Bond gadget. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty good.
Another Michael Douglas moment that actually made me laugh was when he encountered Candice Bergen's character, and he said, "Judy, Judy, Judy," which is a callback to the Cary Grant classic line he never actually said, but people always attribute to him. And when you hear comedians do impersonations of Cary Grant, they will say, "Judy, Judy, Judy."
What's it from?
It's in reference to Judy Garland, I believe, who he was in a movie with. But he never actually said Judy, Judy, Judy. But that's like the go-to line to say if you're doing a Cary Grant impression.
Well, it's the "Beam Me Up, Scotty" that they never said.
They never said
exactly.
That?
Yeah.
I'm sure this is that all of your Star Trek listeners are like, yeah, duh.
Doy. No, they said Scotty, beam me up.
It's just like how in Star Wars he doesn't say, "Luke, I am your father." He just says, "I am your father."
Yeah. And there's the "Play It Again, Sam" from Casablanca.
Mm-hmm.
Who's never said in the film.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
She says like "play it again," doesn't she? But not "play it again, Sam."
Something like that, or she says like, "Sam, play it."
Yeah.
I love a like dictionary of all of those like misquotes that got bigger than the movie.
The Berenstein Bears effect in film. Yeah.
There's the one in Treasure of the Sierra Madre of the "We don't have no stinking badges," which is a line that's often reiterated, but it's not actually said the same way. Yeah.
Okay. Any more for us, Cam?
I just had a question for you guys.
Oh, I like
I have a
questions.
note at the very top of my page with a star next to it, which means it's important for me to mention.
Okay.
But I don't know what it means.
Oh.
So can either of you answer what special sauce means?
Is it at the Chinese restaurant or the Vietnamese restaurant?
The giant snake thing?
I think so. Well, he says we'll have this house special.
I don't know if it's that.
And then he says extra hot. No, okay.
It's the fact that it's at the top of the page means that I made the note after the movie was over.
Oh.
Oh.
I love that you have a method.
Yeah. It's something where I was like, oh, I should remember that for the show.
Listeners.
Well, there it is, folks.
Listeners, it's going out to you. What is Cam's special sauce?
I don't know if we want to phrase it exactly that way.
No, I meant what I said. All right. Well, if we haven't been cancelled already, let's finish this off. It's time for
Not list. Not list. Not list. Not list. The not list. Not list. Not list. Not list. You need to pick a side.
That's right. It's time for the knock list. Our list of the need to see official classics of the SpyHards podcast, the best spy films of all time, allegedly.
Sure.
It's an interesting one because the original made it on.
Deservedly, yes.
Allegedly. And we have another three-way battle this week. So the first vote always goes to the guest. Karyn, is the In-Laws 2003 version making the knock list?
I am going to say no, it does not make the knock list because mostly as someone who is not necessarily a spy head movie goer, when I think of like spy movies, it has to be something that's like maybe kind of big for me to think that it would be on the knock list, just because I'm not as aware of the movies that you guys are aware of.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect reason to say no. And I think also the last hour and a half would also dictate that. And I now will be using the term spy head.
You heard it here.
Right. Yeah, and spy comedies are a tough thing. Spy comedies have had very bad luck on the knock list. But to be fair, we have put aside some of the really classic spy comedies for later. And so it has been kind of a cavalcade of dubious ones. Leading up to this.
The Central Intelligences of the world, and this means war.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And even just like stuff that's fine. You know what I mean? Like not offensive, but just not the Austin Powers films and stuff like that.
Like us. Fine.
Yeah, exactly. We have not done Doctor Strangelove yet, as an example. Yeah.
Oh.
Not yet.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a whole other beast.
I do love that movie.
Yeah. Cam.
No. I think I'm very comfortable with having the 79 original represent the In-Laws franchise on the knock list. This one to me just kind of falls in, as I said, like kind of that. You can kind of see how it was a forgotten 2000s comedy, and I don't necessarily think it's one deserving of reappraisal. It is what it is, but not the most memorable.
I think that's fair enough. I don't think I can fault you on your take for that one, sir. Well, it's 2 no's, and that means my vote is useless and pointless and everything that I am too.
Don't talk about our friend like that.
Oh, bless your hearts. It's a no from me too. I tried to like it, and I think I like it more than the original on the balance of things. But I don't like either all that much.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other spy comedies down the road that might have better luck. But unfortunately, 3 no's. And as such, the In-Laws 2003 is not making the knock list. The dossier on the film is complete and filed as classified. Karyn, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Cam, we're singing the outro now. Cam's not singing the outro now. No, Karyn, it's been lovely. We shouldn't have waited 3 years to do this again.
I know.
Yeah.
I was actually really excited when you asked me out. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely.
Well, obviously, firstly, I tell everyone to go back and find your earlier episodes on the show. But after they've done that, where can people find more from you?
We are at Chicklet Pod on pretty much everything. I think it's pretty much the same on Blue Sky. It's like chickletpod.bluesky.social. And also you can find me dropping later this month into the October Pod AM feed in their Halloween special, playing a very special lady with my voice acting prowess, a character that's kind of close to my heart. So check out October Pod AM as well as Chicklet Pod.
I didn't know you did voice acting on the side. Why did I not know that?
I just started a couple years ago.
That would be why I didn't know that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And Karyn, I would like you to know, we were joking earlier about 2003 being your year to cover on the podcast. So I thought I'd just let you know some of the other films that you could see in your future.
Perfect.
We've got Looney Tunes back in action.
Okay. Brendan Fraser. Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Sean Connery's final film.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're not counting Billy or whatever it is, Sir Billy, Cam?
Sure.
The animated comedy he did in 2010? No? Okay,
Yeah,
just me.
no,
Fine.
no.
Yep, no worries.
Johnny English, the first one.
Oh my God.
Okay, yeah, fine.
And Agent Cody Banks.
Oh.
I loved Agent Cody Banks. That was definitely on my radar for sure.
That has your name written all over it.
Yes, we rented it from the Blockbuster for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You're speaking to Cam there when you call it the Blockbuster. That's very much. Yeah, that's pretty perfect. Well,
The Batman.
Watch this space. There will be. How should I put it? Agent Karyn will return.
The rogue Xerox agent.
Yeah, I'll remember that for next time. I think that's
No,
pretty
you
good.
won't.
No, I won't. I was trying to overpromise and underdeliver, as I always do. But no, Karyn, it's been a pleasure having you back on the show. Thank you. There'll be links in the show notes below, so everyone can go check out all your doobly-doos online, find all the shows, find all of your ats. They'll all be down there. But thank you once again for coming on SpyHards.
Thank you for having me.
There you go. That was the second In-Laws. Not a perfect marriage.
Do you think there will be a third?
No, I think this is done.
You think like they'll just leave that property aside and not try to play with that premise again?
Yeah, I think that this didn't move the needle enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In an era where they were printing like comedy spy films.
Yeah, and printing money off comedies, period.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a scary time for comedies right now. I mean, we mentioned The Naked Gun, but there's been a couple of other ones this year, and none of them have really stuck the landing.
Well, now comedy equals streaming.
Yeah.
Like, that's just where they're like, okay, well, that's where these movies have to go. But, we've talked about movies like Back in Action, which was a big budget spy comedy with 2 movie stars straight to, I think that was Netflix.
And then you get something like Mickey 17, big budget, big director, big cast, comedy, and it goes straight in the bin.
Yep. I mean, even something big like, I think you referenced it in the review, but like Tron Ares, mega budget movie, makes next to nothing. And, the argument for streaming versus theatrical is one that a lot of people are having these days, and they don't have answers.
No, and I think it's a real shame as well, because a lot of us online, people who do film reviews, are always like, people should go see films in theaters. And, I hate all these IPs, I want more original films. So unfortunately, none of us go to original films when they come out. And also, the proposition of paying £20 or $25 or whatever a ticket is in North America these days is a harder thing to do when you don't believe in the IP that it's for. You're not willing to take a gamble on that price anymore.
Yeah, it's nice to see something like One Battle After Another getting, decent week-to-week, earnings. Like, it's not falling off hugely, so that's, encouraging to see, because it's a great film, but it is few and far between cases like that. Yeah.
But that is the In-Laws, and I'm sure we're on to other things which we'll talk about, but we're not quite finished with the In-Laws altogether, because later this week, as we mentioned earlier in the show, we're sitting down with the director, Andrew Fleming, to talk all about the production of the film. And this is one of my favorite types of interviews to do, is where we've only got the one film to talk about, and so we sit down with a director or a writer, and we just go through the nuts and bolts of making a film, the physical process of putting together a film. And that is exactly what that interview is.
Yeah, we may have been mixed on the film, but this is a great listen for anyone interested in filmmaking, period.
Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of bits of information in there. One we alluded to earlier. That firstly, there's some stories that he's never told before, and he says that he's never told these stories before. But there's one bit of James Bond information in there that I'm still not even sure is public knowledge, and I'm looking forward to seeing the reactions when it comes out.
Yeah, and there's also just a hilarious Barbra Streisand story as well.
Exactly. So your mission, folks, should you choose to accept it, is to stay tuned in. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. Leave us a review. Come and join us on Patreon. But join us on Friday as we sit down with Andrew Fleming. But Cam, what are we doing next week?
Well, Scott, the stars of this week's film were both forged in the 1970s. Michael Douglas, you go back, you got China Syndrome. Albert Brooks, he's going toe-to-toe with Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver.
Never heard of him.
Well, next week, we are going to take a look at a pretty definitive 1970s spy thriller. That's right, Marathon Man, with Dustin Hoffman and Sir Laurence Olivier.
Get your shoes all laced up, get your electrolytes balanced. You're going to need it. This is going to be quite the episode, because we are heading back to take a look at Marathon Man. It's a film you've written to us about. It's a film you've emailed us about. It's a film you've grabbed me on the street, shook me, and said, Scott, talk about Marathon Man. I'm going, well, all right then. Here you go.
There was that time that old lady followed you down the street, pointing her finger at you and yelling,
Marathon Man, Marathon Man. Yeah, join us as we talk about Marathon Man. It's going to be a hoot. We've got a great guest joining us, and potentially another episode coming out later that week, but that is still in the works, so we'll see how that goes. Thank you all for tuning in to our review of The In-Laws. Thank you to Karyn from the Chick Lit podcast for joining us. Make sure you stick around for Friday as we sit down with Andrew Fleming, the director of the film. And join us over on social media at SpyHards, SpyHards, wherever you get your social media. But until next week, folks, you'll find Cam and I soaking it up in the jacuzzi in our finest red banana hammocks.
Tis the season to unwrap new memories. Make holiday gifting beautiful, thoughtful, and effortless with Pura's Black Friday sale. Shop up to 30% off site-wide, including curated gift sets for everyone on your list, sleek and modern diffusers for home and car, and premium long-lasting single scents that make the perfect stocking stuffers. Shop the sale at Pura.com for a limited time only.
This podcast is part of Podomedy, the UK's podcast comedy network. Why not laugh at what else we've got? Visit Podomedy.com.